Full body stretch out. I want you to get your foam roller. Put your mat down too, right? Your towel. We may be down here for a nice chunk. We're going to start on the floor. And I would say commit to a good 20 or 30 minutes as our startup, and then we will end upright today instead of on the floor. We'll do a reverse pattern. So your foam roller, even if it's not a long one, if you've got a little mini, that's fine. Grab an extra pillow as a bolsterer. And I've had quite the weekend, y'all. Your stretch out strap will be handy and your towel. So you just want all your gadgets, right? So getting our first adjustment position for our upper middle back, we're going to just try to roll that thoracic spine, get a snap, crackle, pop. Maybe, maybe not. Right? I always go right to the point where I'm comfortably propped. This is my start position. And then this is my brace position. And that allows me to, put my ponytail in my hands, lift my hips. I just putting my thoracic against this foam roller, adjusting my hands and getting ready to bridge into that walkout position. I just had 3 adjustments. Pop, pop, pop. So I feel like I'm done here, but come along for the ride. Here we go. Walk your feet down. Let your head gently tip back. All right. Your hips may be inclined to bridge really high depending on how stiff your spine is. But once you get the foam at the top of the shoulders, lower the hips and just feel the tailbone kind of graze the floor. And then start rolling back. And as you roll back, before you get too far opened with a leg position, bring the feet along for the walk. All right. Here we go. Super slow. I just had another adjustment. I didn't even realize I needed all of these adjustments, but I'm not in any pain. That's the thing. Your body is more likely to get an adjustment as soon as you go just under your wings, which are called the scapulas, right? That's your stop point. And then you set up again. All right. So if the elbows are strained in this wide flare, no strain in the shoulders, right? You can keep those elbows close together. Start again at the top of the shoulders. Inhale. Feel the tailbone grazing the floor, and then slowly push. Your eyes are focused on the ceiling. You've got enough hand support so that your head isn't floating back in an uncomfortable stretch, right? You're neutral. Hips are close to the floor. You're going slow. And you might hit a point where as your foam is going down your spine, you feel like it gets kind of hard to breathe, which is odd, right? It's like it almost takes your breath away. That's when you know that your body really needs an adjustment, and you may or may not get it. So don't fight it, right? Do one more of the roll downs. Sometimes when the body is really restricted and things are super tight, that's when you need the adjustment the most, but yet your body's not relaxed enough to actually get the adjustment. So I want you to find a spot that feels good, and then rest the hips. Let the elbows float into their open space, whatever that means for your body. And then let the upper body kind of just bow back. And now the last element is don't lift your hips, but I want you to slightly pelvic tilt. And then we're going to just take a couple of breaths here. Here's how you gauge if you're in the wrong spot. If there's something about your position that is making you wince, grit your teeth, red flags are going off in your brain going, oh my gosh, this is so intense, then you're in the wrong spot. All right. Now, that's it. Close the elbows in a little bit, pull the head out of stressed position. Push yourself back just a little bit more so we can get off the foam. Help yourself up. Oh, the first little ab contraction right there, just getting your spine off the foam. Okay. So the next phase is going to be more of a chest expansion, and we are going to turn the foam. If you have the 3-foot foam, then go ahead and put tailbone and head on the foam and lay on the foam in T stretched arms. If you have the short little foam, then all that's going to happen is you're going to move the edge of the foam away from you. Here's where you might need your pillow, because it's possible that your spine might be so rigid that you need to bolster your hips. So I'm going to just pretend I don't have the 3-foot foam, and I'm going to grab my towel or my pillow. And so we're pushing the foam away, and you're going to find a position where when you lean back, the foam is in the middle of your, right, running right down the spine. And you have to keep sliding the foam back until you get to a point where you can put your head on the foam. And if your spine or your posture is really like not willing to go into this, then you lift your hips and you slide this other thing under you just to allow your body to find a neutral resting spot. Okay. And by neutral, so if you've opted to put all of your body on the foam, your setup is going to be ever so slightly different. If you're doing this bolstering technique, you can tell that the hips are lower than the shoulders, and that in and of itself creates more of an expansion. So you might go, oh, I really do like the feeling of tailbone and head on the foam, but let me try this other bolstering technique. Okay, so that foam for me is about mid-thoracic spine, keeping my chin drawn to my chest so that my neck is neutral. Now, I absolutely am going to keep my pillow under my hip line. My arms are in T. Since my hips are now below my shoulder level, that is, it's putting me into what feels like an S curved spine, but it also feels like it's excessive S. So if you're like, yeah, it does actually feel like I'm exaggerating the S just through no fault of my own. But guess what? You can control that. You're going to do a smidgen of pelvic tilt. And as you go into pelvic tilt, then do the adjusting of your head so that your neck is neutral. And if you're one of those, right, where everything is still really, really tight and uncomfortable, then you may have to reset and move the foam even further away from your hips, or add another layer of something to your bolstering so that you can control your T position arms and neutral neck. How do you know if you're a neutral neck? Here's how you know. Are your eyes focused on what's happening behind you, right? Sealing and looking back. Because if you cannot direct your chin into cervical retraction and get your gaze tracking forward, then you need to either lift the hips a little bit more or move the foam up a little bit more. So why don't we all go ahead and do a smidgen of a bridge? That should put your neck into, wow, a really comfortable place. It's easy to maneuver the neck, right? And then pull your belly into your body, do your pelvic tilt, and then gently lower the hips back down. And you'll find that if you're not focusing, your spine will not stay in that slight pelvic tilt position. We do not want excessive S. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, the arms are in T, and now I'm going to give you something to do to focus on with your thumbs. All right. So very often the fingers kind of curl towards the in position. So I want you to spread your fingers, lengthen the arms so no elbows touching the floor. The backs of the hands hopefully are touching the floor. Fingers are spread so that you have your thumb and your pinky on the floor, and your arms are at full extension. And if that doesn't give you a pretty good stretch running all the way up the forearm, perhaps even into the hand, through the inside of the elbow, make sure your shoulders are pulling away from the ears and that your upper middle back, this is a lot to focus on, right? So as a recap, you're staying in a little bit of a bridge. Your hips are not off of your pillow, right? They're connected. You're in C curve with a shallow pelvic tilt. The neck is neutral with your gaze focused forward. The arms are at full T extension with the pinkies and thumbs pulling apart from each other. The elbows are active extension. And then your shoulder blades are drawing down and squeezing into the foam. Now, relax the arms, take your hips, lift them, pull your little support base away from the hip line, lower the hips, assist the head, which might put you on one elbow because now you're in a really awkward, uncomfortable position, but you got to get off of the foam. Go slow. Go, oh, man. So not all foams are the same. If you had a really squishy foam, then you probably had a much more comfortable experience than the rest of us. But we're not done with the foam yet. Is it not amazing how many things beyond just laying on it you can do? And now we're going to move our little foam down to our calves, and you're going to let the pillow take its new home up by your head, right? Your calf midway between the knee and the heel. That's your calf. Come on back. This, my friends, is one of my most favorite positions. All right, assume the position. The arms are relaxed, shoulders, right, from right to left shoulder, open yourself up. The legs are a little bit flared. I want the feet far enough apart from each other. Even if you only have a small foam, it doesn't matter. You're going to be working kind of right on the outward, as wide as your foam will let you go. And you're just going to take your legs and you're going to flop the toes into each other and out. Flip, flop, flip, flop. Well, guess what? It's not just the toes or the feet that move. When your toes roll in, the great thing is the knees and the hips go with you. In and out, in and out, in and out. Ah, if you have the sensation similar to mine, you might feel like you've got these knots down there in the lower part of the leg that you would never know were there unless you were doing this. Is that not crazy? So just know that as you go, that your foam, you may have to move it down or up, a little bit just to get that sensation that I just described. But woof, here we go. It's like you're just, what your leg on your foam is doing, it's kind of like just kneading the muscle, except it's called cross fiber manipulation because the calf muscle runs from heel to knee. And as we take our leg and we flip flop over it, we're actually massaging the muscle against the grain. All right, in and out, 10, 9. If you don't feel anything, just move the foam a little bit up or down because you want to get to that awareness of, wow, how could you have little knots down there? Right? And I just keep moving my foam and I'm finding that the entire calf muscle feels like it needs treatment. 5 more. Whew. Oh. Now, let yourself relax. Reassess your shoulders. Did you tense yourself up based on what you were feeling? Second phase, you're going to let the legs have that flared foot position again, and your feet are going to pull the foam to you. And if the foam is in the right spot, this is how you might have to start. You might have to pull the foam up and then put the side edges of your feet on the foam with the knees flared out, because that's what I want each repetition for us to get to this place. And then as you start lengthening the legs, you're going to internally draw knees and toes to each other and stretch the legs. So now flop them out the other way, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. If you get stuck, then just move your feet and then continue pulling. Push it out, push it out, push it out, straighten the legs, turn the knees and toes in, which is going to help you go to extension, and then flop it out, pull, push it out, turn. Can you add more? It has to do with the arms. So stay with your legs extended, toes touching, and now put your palms on the floor. And now, as you pull the feet up and pull the knees apart, turn your palms up and try to make your thumb and pinky touch the floor. The arms are at a comfortable angle. All right, so here we go. Shoulders are pulled back, the neck is long, straighten the legs, turn the toes and knees in and flip the palms to the floor. There's more. It's like I feel like the Ginsu knife commercial, but wait, there's more. So now, everything's extended. I want you to push the heels of the hands into the floor and lengthen the arms. Feel the shoulders slide further away. Pull the fingertips up, but keep the arms connected to the floor. Uh-oh, ready? Relax the hands, take the feet, turn them out, pull the feet up, legs bend, flip the palms up. Take your thumbs and pinkies, make them touch the floor. Push the legs out, palms to the floor, drive the heel of the hand down, lift the fingers. It's a lot. Your body's having to go, wait a second. I mean, my body, even my body's going, wait a second. Do I have all the things going here? All right. Pull the legs in, bend them. No arching the back. Squeeze your buns. Try to pelvic tilt right here. Ah, do you feel the stretch through the groin? All right. Palms are up. Push the legs out, turn the big toes in, palms down, peel the fingers up away from the floor while you're lengthening your arms. Do one more. Pull the legs in, spread them, squeeze your buns, try to get into a little bit of a bridge. Palms are open with the pinky and the thumb touching the floor. Is that possible? Stretch the legs, push the palms down, turn the big toes in, raise all of the fingers from the floor and lengthen the arms. And now relax. That is what I would call a sensory overload, all right, but all in a good way. So now bring the foam towards your buns. Legs are bent. Actually, we need to move the pillow because we're getting ready to go into a little bit of a bridge. All right, so no pillow behind the neck. Start peeling the hips off the floor. Secure your shirt so it doesn't end up hindering you. And can you work that foam right up under the SI joints? All right, settle in. Get your neck and shoulders where they need to be, right? If the foam has rolled up to your waistline, you've gone too far. Roll it down just a little bit. Okay. So next phase, hip flexor. I want you to bring one leg to you. Just start getting yourself comfortable, right? Put that foot down, switch legs, right? Switch legs. And this time, keep the leg up. Maybe you have to hold onto your foam for a moment while you get the other leg up. But then at some point, if you can, release the foam so that you're not stressing your upper body. The legs are just up and bent for a moment. Give yourself time to feel how your body is settling in, because you might even have like a cockeyed head and neck position, so be okay picking up your head, adjusting it, right? Do you feel like right and left shoulder are where they need to be? One leg is going to reach out. And now let that knee soften and see where the foot goes. As soon as you soften the knee and the heel descends, the stretch is very telling. It's right across that crease line, right? If you want a little bit more stretch and you're comfortable with your upper body, grab hold of that bent leg, pull it to you a little bit. And as you pull that leg, all right, as you pull the knee closer to you, it will definitely rock the hips. So I don't want you to fight for this lower leg extension. I want you to do a couple of these repetitions where you actually feel the hips rock so that the foot on that extended leg comes off the floor. And then you let it go back down. Pull the knee tighter, release it. Pull the knee tighter, release it, right? Do two more, nice and easy. And now on this pulled in position, keep letting the lowering leg just find its settling in position. And for me, the stretch, it's like that joint has got taffy, and the taffy, when you heat it up, right, just like dough, and you've been kneading it, it gets more pliable. I just felt that whole hip flexor release, and my leg feels like it's like a mile long now. There we go. Ease the knee up. Switch legs. Let it take the lengthened position. Once you push it out there, go, okay, soften the knee. The foot may just gently hit the floor. Great. And if it doesn't hit the floor, don't worry about it. All right. So now, hands either around the back of the thigh or over the kneecap, shoulders out of the ears, and you're gently going to pull this knee to you. And when you pull it, it's okay that the lowered leg comes off the floor, because as soon as you stop pulling on this knee, the foot should go back to the floor. Tuck, release, tuck, release. Don't fight it. If something about the rocking doesn't feel good, then reevaluate, is your foam in the correct spot? All right, give me two more rocks. Rock, last one, rock. And now you're holding the knee in, shoulders out of the ears, and you're just gonna let the lengthened leg do what it wants to. Gravity gets to win so long as you're not creating stress in the upper body, right? You just keep letting that leg muscularly release. It's an eye-opening sensation when you finally feel like your parts stop fighting. And you're like, ah, that's what the stretch is all about. We don't want to be putting resistance in, say, the neck, shoulders, and jawline just to try to get the leg stretch. So it's this balancing of energy. The leg is gravity driven stretch, and now your upper body is shoulders pulling away from the ears, right? No tension. Start bringing that lowered leg up. Now, let your hands find your foam just for the sake of security, right? And if your hands are anchoring your foam, gently look at your knees. So get your neck neutral and see if you can get your knees closer to your body. You're like, oh, because as soon as your knees come closer to you, the foam kind of moves a little bit, right? So once you rock in, that's your set position. You can even rock a little bit side to side just to make sure that everything is, because you're holding your foam, it's not going to shoot out from under you. And now, I don't want you to push your foot to the ceiling. Keep your thigh as close to your trunk as you can and just start lengthening the leg. Wow, right? So for me, my foot starts traveling towards overhead position. I'm not forcing a leg extension. If my leg doesn't want to fully extend, this is where it's most comfortable. I absolutely can extend it, but as soon as I do, my thigh pulls off my body. So let your trunk, let your thigh connection to your body be the driver. Just slowly lengthen the leg, bend it. And now here's the complex part. Can you take opposite arm to the leg that's extending, work it somewhere around the calf or the ankle, and help the leg just a little bit? Oh, and then release. Put the hand back on the foam, work the other leg, take the other hand. You're just assisting a little bit, release. Now we're going to add on. So it's opposite arm to leg, gentle assist. And before the leg gets fully extended, you're going to flex your foot and release. So the toes are probably pointed in their relaxed position. And as you go hand to opposite leg, change the ankle action to flexed foot. Oh, wow. Do one more each side. Ready? Opposite arm to leg. The leg travels, you flex the foot, and if you're able, extend the leg more and release. This is your last one. Stretch it, flex the foot, push the knee to extension, release and relax. Easy does it. One leg at a time is coming to the floor. Pause. Belly to spine, shoulders out of the ears, your neck is neutral. Start your little bridge. You're just bridging enough to get your hips off the foam, to slide the foam from under you. Don't let your hips go back to the floor. You're just holding. Here's the next thing. Can you bring your hands under your buns and then interlace your fingers? Okay, so now you're going to rock your body off of one shoulder to slide that shoulder down, rock to the other side. All that's doing is it's getting your arms closer together. With your arms fully extended, can you pull your pinkies down to the mat? Bridge the hips, pelvic tilt. The arms are at full length. And now release the interlaced hand, hips to the floor, legs extend. Ready? Moving on. I hope everybody's okay. So here we go. This is your reverse scorpion. So the arms are a little bit downcast. You're going to barely lift one leg. It's only high enough just to get across the thigh on the other leg. The hips roll a little bit and you look at your foot. You're like, foot to hand? Probably not. But can you go hand to knee and support it for a second? And then release. You can soften the knee as you roll it back. Other leg up. Start bringing the leg across. Turn your head, look at your foot. Can you get your hand in your knee to pull the leg just a little bit and release? Side to side. It's going to happen a little faster now. Release. Bring it across. Grab the leg. Pull. Release. Inhale. Roll. Turn the head, look at the moving leg, release. Turn, look, grab, release. One more to each side. Sweep, release. Again. Now, total releasing, bend the legs. Spread those feet as wide as your mat is. If you're not on a mat, you want to be, I don't know, a good, I'd say the mat is probably 2 feet, right? 2 feet wide. So hips, flip flop your little windshield wiper stretch. So stop for just a second. Sit up. There's something that I want you to do with your arms, and I want them to take on the shape of W, right? So when you're laying down, we've got to get your shoulder expansion so that when your arms are on the floor, they kind of look like this. Reset. So maybe you have to keep your head off the floor for a second and go, well, when I put my elbows down and bend my arms, my fingers point to the ceiling. Guess what? That means that you haven't rolled your shoulder girdle into its neutral position. Your upper middle back should be flat so that the wrists and elbows can rest on the floor. And now, assume your leg position, flip, flop. Crazy, right? How hard is it to get your wing, your scapula, to tuck under so that it's in its anatomically correct position? Because guess what? All we're doing is laying down on the floor. I mean, if we can't even get it into the right position by just laying down, how do we expect when we're standing up loading the body to have any control of it? Because right now, all you have to do is go, okay, I gotta tuck that thing down and under and try to squeeze the shoulder blade down and then do it to the other side and keep my hands a little bit wider than my elbow base and flip flop the legs, flip flop. Isn't it crazy? The foundation, right? I find it so interesting when you and us, right? The other we people out there who start moving their bodies with no awareness that, oh, when I do shoulder press, when I do lat pull down, when I do bicep curls, when I do tricep press down, your shoulder blade should actually be in this position for every single exercise. Now you're like, yeah, but what about when I do shoulder press? When I do shoulder press, I can't be in tucked wings. No, but when you come down out of the extended phase, this is the feeling that your upper back should have. And this is why so many people hurt themselves, right? Because they don't know this setup for the spine and the shoulder girdles. So take your legs to one side. Just hang out over there. Can you pelvic tilt? You're like, that's kind of odd, right? Try it. Try to go into a really deep pelvic tilt and tell me that you don't feel that stretch increase on this back trailing leg. It should, because what are we doing? We are actively contracting the glute, which opens up the front body. Now you ready? Relax the glutes, flop the legs to the other side. You're like, okay, let's give it a whirl again. Fold the shoulders under, right? And then get out of your excessive S curve into pelvic tilt and be so impressed with yourself because you're like, wow, I actually really can feel that. And now release the glute. Bring yourself slowly over to the belly. Oof. Little cobra might be in store for us. Now, shockingly, we've already exceeded 30 minutes. And to me, it was like a blink of an eye. So I literally have to stop calling out timelines because I just cannot hold myself to it. I'm not ready to get off the floor, and I hope you're not ready to get off the floor either. So we're coming down. You're gonna allow yourself to be elbows propped. And then I just want you to rock the hips. Rock, 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 rock. And then stop. All right, get the legs stretched. Hopefully you can get the tops of the feet to press down towards your mat. And here's what you need to be prepared to do. If your feet immediately start cramping, then you're just going to alternate toe, toe, flat, flat. Just shift the energy and then you'll feel the sensation dissipate and then you'll attempt again, flat feet, and it might keep acting up and you just do the best you can. Let your trunk sink and then push, squeeze the buns. So this is our shoulder protraction and retraction, right? Palms are up, elbows are under the shoulder, the chest comes down, and then you push. The work isn't the lowering phase. The work is when you push into the mat to get your body braced. Now, if the easy part would be, oh, plop, push, plop, push. But guess what? When you just plop down, the shoulders encroach up towards the ears. So how do we go? Oh, that's right. It's not just the up that we want to work. Keep your shoulders, which might mean that you have to take your fingertips, put them on the shoulders as your reference to keep them depressed. And now when you lower your body, you're trying to make sure that your neck doesn't get gobbled up. So this might be awkward to keep your fingers touching your shoulders. Like it might feel like it's too much work now. But if you do a couple of them to go, okay, shoulders are staying away from my ears and I am pinching the muscles in my upper back. And then I'm expanding. Pinch and glide, push and extend. And now you can rest the hands so long as you can keep the shoulders from pulling up into the ears. This is so much more intense than what it would look like, right? So the head kind of wants to do this little chicken jutting, right? Head, and you're going to keep that cervical spine tucked. Your whole upper body, it moves as one piece, not multiple sections. And you should relax now. Pull yourself out of that. Being in that position, you might feel like you just did a massive shoulder workout. So if you can side sit, and then we're going to intentionally round the spine, rounding the spine to just make you feel like across the lumbar, it gets to release. And then can you pull yourself back up and then float back to C curve. Let the neck relax. Pull up. Okay. So moving into the next phase, it's going to be our side sit into this like full on flow of a position. If you're on your mat, I want you to be able to transition this trailing leg, even if it's not smoothly, transition it to here where it's gliding, and then you bend it and fold it back in. So that might take some hand support on the floor, manually assisting your leg, and then pushing it. And maybe you have to pick it all the way up, right? I don't know what you're going to need, but this is internal and external hip motion. Pick it up, touch the knee, pick it up, extend, touch the foot. What I'm doing here by not giving my arm its real instruction is we're just allowing our body to kind of in this lazy position get familiar with internal and external rotation, because your leg is heavy and is a lot required from the hip right now. Maybe your knee is like, I don't really like the torque. I'm going to do the best I can though, right? And now do one more, right? Open on extension. Whew. Okay. Twist, lean. Can you take this other elbow now? Let it come to the floor. Stretch. Oh, pull this other elbow towards the straight leg knee. Pull, anchor, push. Just for the sake of me going, you might need help. What if it's such a long way to go? What if you're really tight that getting to the floor feels like I'm going to hurt myself? How great is it just to add your little prop, right? We have to be able to immediately evaluate and go, oh, I really want to do it, but I feel like it's too much stretch. And go, oh, but I can actually bolster to bridge the gap, right? Do one more. And release. That's the thing. Time spent. There's a reason why I go out and do my own things on the weekend as far as physically, right? Because I play plenty of pickleball. Like, do I need more activity? Probably not. Floating in and out, brace if you need to, right? Pull it up and push. But it's when I'm doing my own thing that I get to test. I get to try other things out to see how fluid does that feel. Would it be appropriate to add this thing into a group setting where I'm not visually able to manage and give critique, right? But yet it's like, even if somebody were doing something way wrong, this isn't wrong, this is like assist mode, right? I have to go into, if somebody needed assistance, what would their body look like? So I have to experiment with that and then go, if you want a harder version of something, right? Then we take our props away and we rely solely on what our body can contort itself to. Right? So it's the creative process for me. And it's very therapeutic. This is your last extension. All right. So now, how far away does the floor feel when you lean and go, I want to feel comfortable, right? Twist, because this is awkward enough, right? There's part of it that's awkward, and then the other part of it should feel like the reward, right? Awkward, and and maybe it doesn't feel awkward to you. Like awkward doesn't necessarily mean that it's painful, right? Like awkward for me just means that I'm trying to contort my body. I have to work a little bit harder to contort it and then get to the great part of the stretch, but yet my body needs to be encouraged into this position, right? You've got one more to the other side because that one felt so good, right? Twist, glide, lengthen the leg if you can. I'm just taking you through my process, right? So this hand here, can you find a way to put it under your leg and then lengthen the leg and then pull up and then extend? Release and relax. Now, on your feet. We're going to finish in our standing position. So if you want to get your space cleaned up, put your stuff away, grab a little drink. We're going to refresh. I'm going to do a couple deep breaths. We're going to get into, now that we've twisted, we've gotten ourselves quite bendy, we are going to do, I'll call it windmilling. Okay. So we're going to, with a open stance. All right. If you can go hip width apart and then take one leg forward. Right? You're rooted, look down at your feet. Both feet are tracking. The feet are hip width apart. They're not in a straight line. Now, squeeze the bun on the trailing leg. Go, I kind of can feel that, right? I want you to bend the front leg now because that's going to allow you to stay what's called rooted. Take the arm that goes with the back leg, start your circles. If it feels like you need to protect your shoulder, then the arm is bent. If that is still a little too vague, put your hand to your shoulder. And if you don't have any restrictions, then full arm extension. And guess what? When the arm sweeps forward, I want the heel to lift off the floor. And when the arm comes back, the heel drives. Inhale up, big turn. If you want a little bit more, then you follow the arm, which is going to maybe create part of your balance challenge. Can you open your eyes? As you come to this trailing position, turn your head and try to spot your hand, because it's very different spotting for your hand than just looking at your bicep. All right. Okay, trust me on it. It is. Inhale, roll it back. And that's the part that makes me have to really fight right for the very end of it. And if you fall out of line, who cares? Stop, reset yourself. 3 more. This is the great thing about not always feeling like you're doing it exactly right, because that's the ones that are exactly right. You might only get one of those out of the whole series. Inhale, I just went a little spastic on you. Last one, release and relax. Switch feet. Hip width apart, brace yourself. If you will really root your rear leg and just sit down there for a second with your active bun, hopefully you'll get like a hip flexor stretch on the front aspect, right, of that trailing leg. And now you're going to just go, okay, body, you're almost done. Here we go. Take the arm, start your circles, turn your head, go, okay, that's good. If you don't want to have extra balance, then you just keep your heel down. If you say, I need to keep working on my balance, so I'm going to just go along with it, then You raise your heel as your arm sweeps up, twist your head, push it down. Something may happen that is kind of a voluntary thing by your body, and your trailing foot might actually start swiveling a little bit so that the toes are no longer pointed forward. If you feel like you're dialed in really good in the balance part and you're not struggling at all, then when you get to your trailing end, this back part of your swing, I want you to stop when the heel hits the floor, and I want you to look down at your foot, and you might find that your toes are rotated out, and that is making the movement easier for you. So you can only be in control of so many parts of this, but if it's feeling way too easy, it's because the foot isn't minding its track line. Okay, so do a couple more. Inhale up, make the head turn as far back. Look at your hand as it comes to its full opened line. Turn, look, heel hits the floor. Do one last one. Up it goes, twist the body, look at the hand, heel hits the floor, stop, look down, look at your foot, release. All right, this is what we finished with. So the other last week before, we did like this whole crisscross thing and I lost my focus. I'm gonna keep implementing here until it becomes second nature. So extend your arms, turn the palms. You're going to go palm to palm and then interlace the fingers and then pull in, push out. This is one where, for me, oddly enough, it does get my thumb. It gets that whole meaty part right up on the inside. All right, I'm going to have to come back to it here. There we go. So you extend your arms as much as you can and then bring it back in, push it out. Tuck it in. You don't have to stay put. You can walk around your space. This whole, fingers interlaced and twisting. How much extension can you get? Shocking, right? Pull it in, push it out. Do one more. Pull it to you. Twist, twist, twist. You're only going to get so far. Go, what's the limiting factor here? Oh, release, release. Now, look at what hand is on top. Switch them. Trying to not leave too much to chance here. Push. Such a different feeling from right to left arm. Fold it, lengthen it. Tuck it. Encourage, go. Encourage it. Shocking. Push. Pull, shoulders are down, go, okay, your body's figuring it out. The body might be figuring it out to the point where it tries to discourage you from slowing down and just going, okay, take baby steps, baby steps. Last one. Here we go. This is it, right? Looking at your own arms, you're looking at your hands, relax your shoulders. What does it take to get the arm extended? Wow. And release and relax. I know that's kind of just a strange way to end. So we are going to do a little bit of our shaking treatment. Why don't we say 30 seconds to a minute? Okay, soft knees, calm your system. When was the last time you had hands on your neck, pulling the clavicles, right? Pulling the skin. So we're kind of, I don't want to call it like muscle confusion, but I want us to do a couple of things. And the base movement is that you have just a little bit of vibration treatment happening, okay? Now, secondarily, right, we can take and become very tactile with our skin, right? So I want you to go towards one clavicle, and I just want your fingers to pull on that skin a little bit, right? Spread the hands, kind of pull down, and then take your chin and let it up draw diagonally. Don't lose the little vibration. Shoulders out of the ears, pull the belly in, right? We don't want to feel strained through the low back. The chin is not going straight up. Your gaze is kind of off on a diagonal line, and the shoulders are out of the ears. And now stop the legs, jut the chin forward. Relax the jawline, relax the head and shoulders, relax the arms. Start your vibration again. Here we go, a little shaky shake. Belly to spine, shoulders out of the ears. Your body's feeling alive. It's feeling like you just did some really good therapy for it. Ready? Side number 2. Move your necklaces, right? Whatever you've got. Move the strap if you need to a little bit. Find the bones, right? And then pull. When you start tugging on it, see if you can't get your shoulders to kind of come down too. And now that the shoulders are down, tuck, go into your pelvic tilt so you're not compromising your back. Ready? Stop the legs. Let the head do a slight diagonal tip, right? And then up draw the chin. Keep pulling your belly in. Now, jut the lower jaw up. Relax the jaw. Relax the neck. Ooh, lift and breathe in. Release and relax. You are free to roam. Happy Monday. I think we hit it out of the